So where did I get money to start this My Ghanaian Dream Challenge? And this is the question most of you have been asking me. I will attempt to answer that question today. So in July 2025 this year, I took a big decision with the hope that it will change my life for the good. Unfortunately, things didn't turn out quite the way I wanted. It wasn't worse, but it is something that actually I didn't plan for. So, as most of you are aware, I have a private school known as DY Memorial School Complex, and the school is located on a small piece of land which has become congested. So, in an attempt to get a land to expand infrastructure for the students, I have come around the entire community trying to find a close location to the school. Unfortunately, hard as I try, I didn't succeed. So there came an opportunity, let me call it that way, that just opposite the school, there is a place. The opposite the school is the old Chief's palace, the old Chief's house, I will call it, and it has a number of let's say houses, and also there are more lands also available. But all that enclave is known as the old Chief's house. So one of the members of the family constructed a house which we rented, which I rented to establish a fast food joint known as Maya Fast Food. So in an attempt to get a place very close to the school so that the distance between the two campuses wouldn't be far, I wanted to rent the building which we already rented for the fast food. There are about 6 or 7 rooms with some additional space for more construction. So this was my idea, and that particular landlord accepted that we can plaster and paint and reconstitute the rooms into classes for our children to use. So when I started this, I filled the place with sand, and then work started. When work started, one of the members of the old chief's house, who happens to be allocated one of the lands just by this particular building we are working on, suggested that if I am interested, I should get him a place so that he would give that land to me to build fresh classrooms to accommodate more of my children. So I asked a place in the form of a house, or whether yes, if I could get him 2 bedroom or 3 bedroom house, which is not too far from where we are in Sanaro Kuku, he will be fine with that. So I said, okay, I already have a building around a nearby community called Clinic, which is a walking distance to the place. So I took him to the place, he saw it, and he was okay. But when he came back to consult his relatives, brothers, sisters, uncles, and what have you, they said that the place is quite far, so he's changed a different place. I should change a different place for him if I was interested in exchanging the land, exchanging the house for the land. So I said, well, if I get a new place, I will definitely give it to them. So they went around to look for a house and came to tell me that that house is being sold. And if I could purchase that particular house for them, they will agree to exchange the land for me. So I talked to the owner of the land. We agreed on the price. And now I didn't have the money to pay for that particular house. I remember I didn't be prepared at all to buy a house. My intention is to get a land closer to the school to construct more classrooms. So, but now that I had a place closer, and the issue has to do with me getting a house to exchange with the person, then I discussed with the person to give me about 5 months. So from July, so August, September, October, November, December, so latest by January, I should be able to raise the money to pay for the house. Whereas concurrently, I'll be putting up some foundation and maybe a wall to wall this particular land that has been given to me so that our children can start playing there before we develop more classrooms on the land. So I started combing around looking for money. I talked to friends, I talked to family members, I talked to almost everybody I know who could raise this money for me, but all to no success. I didn't get the money. Then I resorted to, okay, if you could loan me the money in bits, so you give me small, you give me small, you give me small, then by December and January latest, I will raise the entire money. And how will I be able to pay back the money? My intention was to sell a few of my properties. So I decided to sell my car. I parked my car for some time because of fuel and because of some other reasons, which wasn't economical for me to keep using it as a big Pajero car. So I decided to sell the car, reduce the price and sell so that latest by January, I will be able to raise money to pay those who loan me the money. Then also, I decided to sell my land. So both the land and then the car, I decided to reduce the prices to sell so that by the time my commitment is due, I'll be able to raise the money to pay for the house. Then I started seriously marketing this house and this particular and this land and this particular car. And lo and behold, I had people come out to buy it. However, so whilst I was marketing this house seriously, I was also using marketing this land seriously with the car. I was using the money in my hands available to now go to the house that I am buying to work on it, to plaster it, to floor it, and to put windows and doors, so that by the time those works on the house are finished, then I will now hand over the key to the man I'm exchanging the land with. Because according to the deal, he will not be able to raise money to plaster the house and then put some ceiling, those basic stuff to make the house comfortable. So besides buying the house, I have to do those things. I said, okay, once the place is near the my school, I'll be fine. So by the time I finished working on this house with agreement of the owner of the house, a lot of tension blew out. A lot of tension came up from the family of the man I'm exchanging this land with. The background story is that as a family land, the children of the former chief allocated some of the lands to the former chief allocated some of the lands to his children and those who were with him. And this particular man happens to be his cousin who was living with him. So all the family members, let me say 99% of them accepted that it was a good deal to exchange a, a house for the land. However, whilst this house was being worked on to be exchanged with the land, some of the community members in the community that I live currently, some of them heard about the deal and they didn't feel comfortable with it. So they decided to nose around and to put their mouths within the agreement which I had with them, which is to say that some of them were not happy and they decided to poke their noses into this particular deal to the extent that the family members of their own tree started quarreling among themselves about the fact that they were no longer in agreement to me giving the man a house and in exchange of that particular piece of land. By this time, the house I was working on was complete. An advance of 10,000 Ghana Cedis was paid to the owner of the house that I was working on. Then the balance was to be spread to December and later January of 2026. Now the house hasn't been completed. I gave the keys to the owner of this land so that they will give me their commitment that I can now take the land in full and use it to whatever purpose I want. So the disagreements continued among the people in the old Swiss palace, including some of those who even come to just sit with them to chat as friends. Some of them who are even neighbors came around to offer one opinion or the other regarding whether they should accept or not. So it became dicey. The foundation we dug and put concrete, all those ones had to be stopped because they even went to involve the assemblyman of the community in this matter that I don't even think that their hands should be part. This notwithstanding, eventually they refused. They impressed upon the man who was exchanging his land for the house. They impressed upon him to refuse the house. And by this time, the sale of my land and the sale of my car went through, and the money was now in my hand to pay for the house, ostensibly to pay those who were to loan me money to pay for it. And in which case, I didn't get the money from anyone, and now I was racing against time to raise my own money to pay for this particular house that we had just finished working. It became a task up and down, up and down, up and down. Just for what? Just for them to come to an agreement that they will now agree to allow their brother, their son, their uncle to exchange this particular land for me to take the house, 3-bedroom house that I pitched. So eventually, 1 month later, after their disagreement, they came to tell me that they still need more time to consult among all their extended family members before they will decide whether they agree or they don't agree to the house. Then I just thought that no, These guys are trying to play a fool of me. For that matter, I am not ready to go ahead with this particular deal. By this time already, I had already buried money in digging the foundation. I had buried money in getting water into the particular facility. I have already spent money in putting in doing concrete to fill all those foundations. In more still, even the foundations were dug about three different times. The first time was the at the demarcation the land commission came to carve out, and the second was the time they disagreed that the demarcations were in disadvantage to some of the neighbors, which I decided to put back into the land. And the third was the old chiefs palace themselves said that where the demarcation was made, which is right, but if I was going to continue with constructing of the wall, when they are going to perform a funeral, there is something the government call circulating the house. They will not be able to do that. So if I could move forward a bit, it will help. So all these movements were done at each time spending money to dig and at each time spending money to put in concrete. But at the end of the day, all these could not push. The money buried in the foundations were the money used to go and work on this particular house that I was buying was still in contention as to whether the owner will pay me or not. But at the end of the day, when I decided that I was no longer interested in continuing with this particular deal, then I sat with the owner of the house who that I worked on, and he agreed. He willingly agreed that as long as the people are refusing to give me the land, he will take his house, and then we'll calculate how much I spent in the house, and then the advance money I paid to him, he will give me some time. Then he will pay it back. And this is November 2025, and up to now he has paid the money all right. However, the money I took for the sale of my car at a reduced amount, the sale of my land at a reduced amount, that money has now come into my hands. However, the purpose for which I sold those properties can no longer be achieved. Well, where do I have to take the children? I have to take them to quite a further place, not very close the way I needed it. And that is okay without a closer by place. That place is okay. However, the pain is the fact that I sold my car, I sold my land, which I wasn't ready to sell, but for this particular purpose of getting the place near my school to develop it. So now that the deal was over, now that the deal was abrogated, and I was no longer going ahead I was no longer going ahead with it. The money now came to my hands. So what was I going to be able to use this money to do? What was I going to use this money? A lot of things came to my mind. I need to use this money for something that I would be able to get my car back. I would be able to get my land back. I would be able to use it to get a better life and not to spend it in a way that those things will never come back to me. Moreover, having to take the school to quite a further place from the place I knew is going to roll back the momentum the school was growing with. For that matter, I became a little uncertain, and I decided, having pondered over this particular issue over a number of weeks, I decided I will come out with I will come out with some to put this money into so that within some particular period, I should be able to and recoup my money back and be able to use it to buy all the things that I've lost in this particular abrogated. So it is during this period that I coming out with my Ghanaian Dream Challenge came in. And as you are, when I sold these things, the money was more than 100,000 Ghana Cedis. But where I was relocating the children to, I spent some of the money there, leave about 100,000 Ghana Cedis, which I started with in this particular challenge. And as you know, I didn't have any idea at all about where to put this money in until you guys suggested various forms of businesses until I settled chicken product. So this particular is not so much, neither is it so little. To me, however, it means a lot to me that I don't have to lose this money for whatever reason. Wherever that I'm going to put this money, which I decide to put it in a chicken production, this money is something that I want to hold on to very strongly. I want to ensure whatever this money will grow and have children and grandchildren. Because this particular story is so touching to my heart, I hardly say it to anyone. So that is how I was able to raise 100,000 Ghana Cedis to start this My Ghanaian Dream challenge. And I put it public so that you guys will hold me responsible for the results that I will achieve with this investment that I. It is not too easy having to deal with the disappointments of people. However, I am hoping to turn this particular disappointment into an opportunity to grow myself and grow my community and grow everybody who will learn. Today is the 25th since I launched this My Ghanaian Dream channel. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please do and follow how I use this particular determination. I turn this disappointment into success. I turn this particular feeling that I have into a success that me myself I wouldn't have been able to pattern. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.